Hello beautiful, welcome back to my channel and to this video where we are going to discuss the top 5 mistakes that indie brands do. And this is just a personal preference. This isn't meant to be bashing anyone or pointing fingers towards any brand. These are just things that I have noticed throughout the years when I have been reviewing and buying and loving indie brands. Things that get on people's nerves and also sometimes get on my nerves. I did discuss this topic with my friend Amy Loves Makeup and she said that she had something similar planned for her channel, so we decided that we'd make a collab out of this. So if you want to see her 5 reasons as well, I will leave a link to her video down below in her channel. Do check her out. She is such a sweetheart. She is one of my close friends and I am so happy to call her a friend, and I'm so happy we have met in real life as well. We actually met in New York about 6 months ago now, and I am so looking forward to meet her the next time. Just with the situation that's going on right now, don't really know when, but I know there's gonna be, it's not an if, it's a when, definitely. The first reason is something that I hear a lot, and that is that indie brands tend to only swatch on themselves. And I totally realize that when you are running a one-man or a one-woman show, it's kind of hard to be outsourcing different jobs like that out to different people, but it is very important if you want to grow your brand and if you want to grow and be bigger and reach more people and reach a wider audience, that you need to show them that your brand actually works on them as well. I see that a lot, indie brands swatching on themselves and therefore only showing their products on one single skin color. But it's so important for all brands to show it on a wider range of skin tones so that we can know what we're getting ourselves into when we're buying it. Because I know that there is a lot of people out there that actually wait for reviews from someone of their own skin color to even be able to see what they look like on someone that's like close to them. And I realized as a new like up and coming indie brand, it's not that easy to like be paying models for doing work like that, but maybe you have a neighbor, maybe you have a co-worker, or maybe you have a friend, someone that can help you a bit out in the beginning. And I do think, and I will come to that in my point number 2, that it's important to invest in your brand to make it grow. And that goes with like every kind of business. For it to be bigger and better and like wider than it is now, you need to be investing in it. And investing in getting swatches on different skin tones definitely will help your brand stand out in the crowd of brands that only do swatches on one skin tone. The second point is what I just said, and that is that sometimes I feel like indie brands are so stuck in what is working for them, what they are liking to do, that they don't invest in their brands to make it better. Sometimes you need to invest in branding, sometimes you need to invest in packaging, in websites, in different kinds of formulas or stuff like that, or just like in your online presence to make your brand look more professional, to make your brand look bigger. This is one of the best tips for like if you're starting a new brand, or if you're starting a YouTube channel, make yourself look more well put together and more professional and bigger than you actually are. A lot of the indie brands have been going on for years and years and years, and they still have a very awful website. And I don't mean to say that to be mean, it's just the way it is. They have the same website as they did when they started, but they've been going on for years and years, and sometimes it is important to invest in your brand to make it look very professional. If you look at some of the indie brands that have grown and become very big, like just look at Nyqvist place, they have switched their branding up, they have switched their logos and their websites and their online presence to match where they want the brand to be. Now if you go to their website, it looks super professional. It looks like any kind of big brand's site, and to be fair, they are a big brand now, but sometimes maybe you need to invest in your brand to make it look as big as you want it to appear. And I do understand that this takes some money, but sometimes just small improvements over time can do a lot, especially when it comes to packaging and branding and online presence and your website. It's like the first impression that the customer gets from you, and it needs to be matching what you want your brand to, like the vibe you want your brand to give out. The second mistake that I see indie brands do is that they are stuck in one product category and they seem to not want to venture out to different product categories. A lot of the indie brands that are thriving right now that started out like a really small venture with just a couple of products, I'm thinking Jeffree Star, Dose of Colors, Juvia's Place. These were all very small indie brands or Makeup Geek that just had 1 or 2 products. Dose of Color started out having, if I'm not totally mistaken, just highlighters and maybe liquid lipsticks, but I'm actually not quite sure. Jeffree Star started out having just liquid lipsticks, but they ventured out. They started doing other things as well. And I think that if you want to grow your indie brand, you kind of do need to venture out and try different things, but make sure that everything you try is good. So you just don't venture out into a bunch of different things and they don't end up being that good or that loved. Because if you're stuck in your one thing, I see a lot of indie brands, for example, being stuck in single highlighters or single eyeshadows, which is lovely, but at some point coming out with 3 or 4 different collections per year, it could end up with you having a lot of very similar colors and your core audience feels like they already own everything from your brand and they kind of move on. You're gonna have to reinvent your brand a bit and come up with different products if you want to keep your core audience and also grow your core audience. Because a lot of people out there, they aren't interested in single eyeshadows or single highlighters. They want to have palettes, or they want to have glitters, or they want to have brushes, or they want to have something else. And it is important as a brand to not be stuck in a category, even though you might be kicking butt in that category. Maybe you're the best one in that category, but if your core audience already feels like they have everything from you in that category, you're gonna be stuck, you're gonna be stagnant. And I've seen a lot of brands rise up like a star and then just go down because they just didn't come up with any more products and they kept releasing things again and again and again within that little category, and their core audience just felt like, I already own this. The fourth mistake that I see indie brands do are bad product photography. And with bad product photography, I don't only mean that they're not making the product look as good as it is, it's also that sometimes they're making the product look too good. And that is a very big problem with indie brands, and I see that critique so many times within my comments from people saying that they've looked at the social media or the product pictures on the website of indie brands, and when they get the product, it's not lining up. It is not as vibrant, the duochrome is not as strong, it's not as glittery, it's not as yummy as it looked on the website. And I see a lot of indie brands do that, and I very rarely see bigger brands do that. I don't see bigger brands posting pictures of their makeup making it look slightly better than it actually is. If anything, I see the opposite of bigger brands showing their product almost to look not in their best lighting, not in their best, like like BH Cosmetics, for example, or Makeup Revolution, that when you get the products, it's actually prettier than it is in the product photo, because in the product photo it just looks flat. And I think that a lot of people would prefer that over some of the product photography from indie brands where they're making the product look prettier than it actually is. Because when people then get it home, to their home, they're going to be slightly disappointed, because even if the product is amazing, it is not nearly as amazing as you made it up to be in your social media or on your website. It is a problem, of course, in the other way around as well. If you're not very good with product photography and your products look like potatoes, but actually in real life your product looks really good. But that can be helped with good reviews like later on, when people are saying like, this is actually such a pretty product. But you don't want to have it the other way around, when people get the product and they're like, it's nice, but it's nowhere as nice as it is in the pictures that the brands are posting themselves. And that is a big problem, and that is something that I've seen a lot, and there are brands that are definitely guilty of this, and I hope that they realize that in the long run this is just gonna make them look bad. The fifth and final thing is something that I think that most people have as a pet peeve, and that is that owners have a hard time seeing that the company is not a person. They think that when people don't like their product or is criticizing something within the brand, they are criticizing them personally. A lot of indie brands are run by one person alone. Some people have like 1 or 2 people on board. Usually it's like their husband and their sister. Most indie brands are so much smaller than we think, and sometimes indie brands just treat their brands like babies. And when someone is saying like, I didn't like the product, I didn't like the quality, I didn't like the pictures, I didn't like the shipping, whatever they might not be liking, the owners take it very personally, like someone is attacking their little baby, someone is attacking their life dream, and they're like, their work of art, and I do realize that it's so easy to take something personal when it's like only you, because you feel like when they're critiquing your brand, they're critiquing you because it's only you. But we have to realize that brands do not have feelings, and you have to set that aside. We have seen a lot of really unprofessional acts and unprofessional attitudes from indie brand owners due to them taking things just too personal. It's not about you, it is about your brand, and it is about your product. And brand owners need to realize that we need to take criticism a bit constructively, even though maybe the customer maybe is not being constructive at all with the criticism, but it is your customer after all, and you need to act like a boss. If you want to be a boss, you need to act like a boss. It is not against you, it's just not everyone can like everything, and there are a lot of people out there that just cannot share their critique in a constructive way. They call it constructive criticism, but it's actually just criticism. But as a owner of a brand, you need to set that aside and see that it is not just your baby. This brand is something else. It's a thing. It doesn't have feelings, and there's no need for you to get hurt on its behalf, because the brand isn't hurt. The brand doesn't have feelings. And I think that after some like drama that has been lately and some controversy that has been lately due to some brands taking things just way too personal, I do think that it has cooled down a bit on this front, because people realize that you can't act like that, even though I did see lately one indie brand behaving god awful, and they are forever on my not getting close to this list. But overall, I do tend to forgive those things if it's just a minor mishap, because I do realize that it is very easy for an owner of an indie brand to take it a bit personal. I think the most important thing is to see that it doesn't happen again. Everyone can make a mistake, but there is a difference between making a mistake and making it a habit. And I don't want to support brands which owners make it a habit. And those are my 5 reasons. Don't forget to check out Amy's video down below. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!